It's time for Justice for All, Behind the Badge video, streamed live from Team Toyota Route 1 in Langhorne with your host, Tom Mellon, featuring Bucks County District Attorney Matt Weintraub and Bucks County Sheriff Fred Harran. Here's your host from Team Toyota, Tom Mellon.
Good morning. Hello, everyone. Here we are at 10 o'clock in the morning at 746 East Lincoln Highway with our show that we do each and every month or every other month with Fred, and then the other month with the District Attorney, Matt Weintraub. But today it's Behind the Badge with our Sheriff, Fred Harran. It's a program that we developed to provide a very keen perspective for our listenership to understand the effective security services provided to the Bucks County residents by the leadership and under the leadership of our sheriff, Fred Harran, as well as for the daily visitors who dwell in our county under the leadership, once again, of our sheriff here. Additionally, Fred brings a plethora of experience in the past, with more than 30 years of experience with police work, 15 of them being in Ben Salem Township as the police and fire director. And we're just excited about having him here, and that's one of the reasons, the primary reason why we do this show. So you learn a little bit more about how you're protected effectively here in this beautiful county of Bucks. I want to thank Paul Muller for all that he does with our shows, not only this show, but Justice for All and our signature show that we do, Let's Go Places, where we talk about increasing the awareness to our listenership about the courageous efforts of our police, fire, and our military. Today we're going to have several topics that we're going to discuss with Fred that I understand to be very important. I'm always across the land here in Bucks County and into Philadelphia, and I get I'm in the midst of a lot of conversations with our neighbors, residents, business people, policemen, firemen. They all have important points of view, and then I gather all these things together, and I like to discuss it with Fred because Fred has the experience. That's why he's in this leadership role as the sheriff. Fred, thanks for joining us today.
Tom, thanks for having me. Thank you very much.
How do you do it? I mean, you're all over this county, and as I said before we started, you're actually moving a lot quicker than me, I'll tell you that. I can tell because I'm a lot older.
Not that much.
As long as I can stay behind you, you're always on the move, always with a smile.
Well, I enjoy keeping busy, so that's a good thing. I can't just sit still. It drives me crazy.
Oh my God, that's true. But let's get right to it. This gun situation, the gun control situation. People are, next door neighbors, people in the town meetings, politicians. Everyone's talking about the calamity and how these demons are out there ravaging not only different shopping centers and other points of interest that they find to just take lives, but now it's our children, the innocence of our children in schools. I know there's no remedy for this. We don't know who these people are, but I'd like to begin. I mean, I know guns are now the leading cause of death among young people in the United States. And people are shouting out, we need more gun control, gun control. I don't think it's gun control. I think people who have that right under the Second Amendment to protect themselves, that's not where these calamities are occurring. It's the people, some of these sick individuals that are out there. And I just want to get your perspective on any type of an effective remedy to mitigate these cold and calculated assaults on our children in our schools that continue to horrify everyone. A lot said there.
It is a lot said, and I'm sitting here listening to you, and I have some things to say, some answers, and I got to be careful.
Of course you do. Of course you do. But it's experience. It's experience.
But you're absolutely right, and it's got to be a fine balance of everything. And I'm not going to talk about gun control. That's not the issue at hand.
No, it's not.
The issue at hand is, and I just had this conversation with someone yesterday. The issue at hand is, every time these things happen, unfortunately, we're going to forget about Texas again. Weeks will go by and it will be forgotten. Columbine, forgotten. Sandy Hook, forgotten. And you would think after that, nickel mines, if it can happen in a one-room Amish schoolhouse here in Pennsylvania where 5 kids could be killed, it can happen anywhere. Forgotten. And I'm not saying that in a negative, mean, I don't care way. That's not what I'm saying. As a matter of fact, just the opposite. We talk about it, we cry about it. We have moments of silence before we start government meetings about the horror that happened in Texas, and that's nice, but it's not a time for a moment of silence. It's time for a moment of outrage, constant outrage. It's not a moment of silence. It's a moment of outcry. It's a moment of action. It's a moment of doing something. The truth of the matter is, and I've been in law enforcement now for 34 years. I remember Columbine, April 20th, 1999. The fact is that pre-Columbine, 18 months before Columbine, there were 12 school shootings in the United States. But no one really talks about it because there was 2 dead, 1 dead, 3 dead. And if it's not your child, it's not newsworthy. And then Columbine comes, and the numbers are ramped up. And then we saw, Columbine was, one of the first major incidences that were just filmed live, and it was being shot out live, and we saw it. And now that happens more and more. And you would think after Columbine, we were locking up kids, and kids were going to, to juvie, if you will. Here in Bucks County, it's called Edison, where the juvenile facility is, for, bringing box cutters to school, or he had, the kid, had a 5th grader had a small Swiss Army knife that the parents gave him for Christmas or
Right.
Hanukkah, whatever it might be, and they were getting arrested for it, and they were getting detained, and I called it the Columbine effect, and that died out. And then the school shootings and the violence continued. And you know what? There's 2 common factors here. And obviously the jury's not in yet on Texas, but prop door. Doors left unsecured, propped by someone. Not putting blame. Blame should be put. But, I just had this conversation an hour and a half ago. And you know what you do? You got to start, making hard decisions. And people aren't going to like what I'm about to say. Unions aren't going to like what I'm about to say. But, a teacher that props a door should be terminated immediately on site.
Exactly.
We have to start investing money into securing our buildings. How many planes have been hijacked since 9/11? None. We secured, thanks to Congressman Mike Fitzpatrick, God rest his soul. Mike was the champion, and Brian continues to secure those cockpits.
That's an excellent point.
And
Excellent point.
I don't know, next time you're flying from here to Disney, watch what happens on a plane when a pilot goes to use the bathroom. That bathroom in first class, watch what happens. The flight attendants barricade that front area between the bathroom and the cockpit with the drink carts. Now most people probably don't pay attention to that.
No,
now,
they don't.
I look at stuff like that because I'm crazy. And, those are the things that we look for when you're in law enforcement. You notice those type of things, and I find it very interesting. What goes into the pilot having to go to the bathroom. So it can be done. We can secure our schools. We can pretty much prevent school shootings if we put the money and resources into protecting our schools. So, parks are nice. Snow removal is great. Potholes stink. No one wants to run over a pothole. Light poles, fancy light poles are beautiful in our streets. But you don't put a jacuzzi in when the water main is leaking into your house. You don't spend the money on the jacuzzi. Now I'm getting aggravated.
Good point.
I'm getting aggravated because I'm tired of the moments of silence. I'm tired of all this. We have to do something, and then the R's and the D's blame each other. And it truthfully, it does. You don't have to worry about gun control so much. Is there a part to that? Yes. But we can put the money, instead of arguing and getting nowhere across the aisle, everybody should agree there should be no debate on securing our schools. Our schools are more important than a new tree in a park.
Absolutely.
And the environmentalists are probably going to hate me. I don't know. Maybe they won't vote for me in 4 years. I don't know. But I'm going to speak my mind.
You're
And
being honest.
those that know Fred Harran know he speaks his minds, whether you like it or not.
Correct.
Let's start putting our money into our schools' safety.
Amen.
I'm not talking about another social studies program. I'm talking about physical safety, physical barriers, physical alarms on doors. I think, and I'm out of Ben Salem now, but I think if I'm not mistaken, Ben Salem High School has 78 doors to get into that building. I'm pretty
Unbelievable.
sure that's the number.
78.
78 little doors all around the building. A lot of them are there for fire code because you have to evacuate.
Okay. I never knew it was that high.
And I don't know the year. Don't quote me on this, but the last child that died in a fire in a school was like 18-something. I don't know what the number is.
Why?
It's years ago. Well, we've changed the way we do things
Correct.
for fire prevention. And prevention, we talked about before we took air today.
Yes.
You know, we have to put money into prevention in every aspect. Drugs, alcohol. We're going to come on mental health in a few seconds.
We will, yeah.
But you can prevent school tragedies. You heard me say it. And I ain't the smartest guy in the room. But you're telling me there's not people in this country that think what I think? You can prevent school tragedies. Folks, they are preventable. We have had since 9/11, 20 years, no other planes. Am I annoyed that I have to throw my water bottle out when I get to the airport and buy another one for $6? Yeah. But if it saves a plane, I'll pay the $6.
Amen to that. Sure.
So we get, am I annoyed that we can only do 3 ounces of liquid? Yes, but it's preventable. You can take measures. We can prevent school shootings and massacres. Stop with the moments of silence before government meetings. Have moments of outrage. We can fix this. We can move on. We can prevent further school violence. We could talk about how we could do it. I don't know when we got a break coming up, but we could talk about it.
We still have a few minutes. Keep
So
going. That's
there
great.
are
This is
preventable.
great.
You have to secure these doors. You have to hold people accountable. When you find people propping doors, they need to be gone.
Yeah.
You don't get a second chance. We could put alarms on doors. We could put cameras on doors. I'm not going to go into specific details, but for the years I was in Ben Salem, and I know Bill McVeigh, the current director, continues with that progressive. And I mean good progressive, not Washington, D.C. word progressive. I mean good progressive.
Yes, exactly.
Safety procedures in our schools. But it costs money. A wise man, whose name is Joe DiGirolamo, the mayor of Ben Salem Township, had said, and he continues to say it to this day, you can make water go up a hill if you got the right amount of money. And that's the truth. And people need to know that all these school incidences are preventable, all 90+%. You start with securing our schools. This is not new. There's something called CPTED. It's crime prevention through environmental design is what the acronym stands for. It's something we've been doing in law enforcement for the last 34 years that I've been here, and we do it in our homes. We do it to securing our vehicles. People always tell me, how do I make my car so no one will steal it? Well,
Prevention.
Prevention. Park under lights, put locks on, put an alarm on, put a club on, whatever. Now cars are a lot hotter because of electronics.
Sure.
So all this stuff is preventable.
Absolutely it is.
But it costs money.
Yep.
Club isn't free. You got to pay for it.
That's exactly right. But it's so important. Fred, we're going to take.
I'm getting annoyed here.
No, but I like it. You're starting to liven up here. Don't lose that luster. You never will. But you're listening to Fred Harran, who's the sheriff of Bucks County. I'm loving everything that we're hearing about this, dialogue that's occurring at the moment. Because why? It's important. And the word prevention, obviously, Fred will continue after a few words from our sponsor to carry that word prevention a little bit further so that the listenership understands to speak to their legislators, to speak to the people who are important so that we can invest here as well on prevention because it is, as Fred pointed out, preventable. We'll return after a few moments from our sponsors.
We have something for everyone at Team Toyota. With used cars starting under $6,000, over 80 Toyota certified used vehicles, pre-owned trucks, vans, SUVs, hybrids, and more. And they all come with 1 year of complimentary maintenance and roadside assistance. Plus, you can shop completely online or in our safe and spacious showrooms for a comfortable and fast process that puts you in control. Visit teamtoyota.net and be safe, be strong, and be a team.
WBCB is now on your FM dial at 107.3. Serving Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer counties since 1958, you can now listen to all of your BCB favorites crystal clear on 107.3 FM. A new age for WBCB on a new frequency, 107.3.
Hey, this is Jonesy. Kick off your Thursday and Friday evenings in style. Join me for an eclectic free-form mix of the hits and beyond. It's a happening, a musical journey. It's the Glenn Jones Radio Experience, right here on 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM, Thursday and Friday, 5 to 6 p.m., directly following the legendary Jerry Blavitt. Radio, the way it ought to be.
For more than 125 years, the Philadelphia Protestant Home has been family to seniors living independently or in personal care and skilled nursing. PPH is a premier community for affordable, quality care and vibrant living. Through its Benevolent Care Fund, PPH also provides peace of mind, security to eligible residents who no longer can afford their living expenses. PPH offers spacious studio 1 and 2 bedroom apartments with balcony, patio, and garden view options. Call now to schedule a tour, 215-697-8000, or visit us on the web at pphfamily.org. At PPH, we're family.
Thanks for listening, and thanks for hanging in, listening to our sponsors. I once again want to thank Paul Muller for all of his altruistic work and efforts. It's not just the shows that he sponsors here at Team Toyota, but he's out there with the public, and he's always doing good things and good charity events and contributing, putting his hand out to help. And we certainly appreciate that. I've been working here for 14 years. Can you believe it, that long?
Wow.
14 years. After being in law enforcement for so long, and jumping into this and helping our...
They have a job for me?
Yes, they do.
I might not get reelected after this.
Oh, no, you're going to be elected. There may be higher, loftier positions. That's where we need to put you. Keep moving you up the ladder, Fred. Fred's moving up the ladder, whether you agree or not. He is. Most of you agree to that. But let's get back to that notable word, prevention. If you put under a microscope, Fred, if all the social and psychological factors were methodically studied and investigated, the unequivocal answer would be, obviously, when you study everything, it's not gun control. It's the methods for, once again, using prevention, the preventative measures. And you've just pointed it out. When I was on the police department back in the 70s and the 80s, we had police officers in every school. They were detailed. So there's your tax dollars effectively being spent at work, at school, so that when you're working, when the parents and the families are working, they're comfortable. They know that their children are protected and they're in a safe environment. It's happening in some schools, but it can't be just some schools. Obviously, these disasters that are occurring, such as Uvalde and some of the other Columbine that you brought up, all of these schools fell victim because there were some loose strings. And that's what you were pointing out. We're spending money as a nation to help Ukraine, for example. It's necessary. God bless those people over there. It's horrible how that country turned into rubble and the loss of lives, including children. But now our children are being they're being taken from us because of some of these cold and calculated how do I put it, actions. And we have to take no more risk. We have to put the money effectively where it belongs. So let's talk about the mechanical devices, and perhaps a lot of retirees, including retired sheriffs, I'm sure they would take on a position sitting in a school to protect our children. Your thoughts?
Well, you could certainly, we'll start with the last first. Retirees and uniform presence in the schools. I think that's a good start. It should be mandated.
Mm-hmm.
Uniformed officers in the schools. I'm not so sure about the retirees. Sometimes the word retiree is
true.
With no disrespect to anybody that's retired, but after you're done 25, 30 years, what do you got left? It's tough.
That's true. That's
so it should be somebody with at least 5 years on the job, not a brand new officer, somebody that's got some experience, that could read people, that understands, knows how to talk to people. That's the key to everything.
Yes, good point.
Because anything good could be bad very quickly if you can't communicate. So you don't want a brand new cop, and maybe you don't want somebody that's, on the way out. You want that middle ground.
You want that middle ground, sure.
Somebody that's still got a long career, that knows the job and knows how to communicate and knows how to, read signs and knows how to read people. One way or the other, but certainly a uniform presence in the buildings, I think, are necessary. Some sort of presence.
Amen.
And it costs money. I get it. I
Yeah.
get it. Everything costs money. Everything costs money. But what does it cost not to do it? You know, again,
Lives.
and we spend money on. I'm not against parks, please. You know, I know I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and a tree grew in Brooklyn. One tree, only one tree. So I do like a tree. And I know, please, I'm kidding, but I'm, you know, on a serious topic. But if you, when you cry, you got to laugh too. You got to know both emotions. But you got to put up priorities. We're at desperate times call for desperate measures, and we're at desperate times. We have to stop this school violence. You're right. People care about two things in this world. People care. The two most important things are their family, safety, and schools.
Yes.
And in this particular case, the two are meshed together. You're not getting educated if you're worried that you might not come home from school that day, or your parents are worried. So now you have the two most important things in the world to someone is now being the two worlds are colliding. And you've got to secure those two worlds. It could be done hard security with actual technology. The technology out there, you know, I don't want to go into too much detail, but so many people are so scared of things like facial recognition. People are scared of DNA. We've talked about that on this show.
Oh, yeah, we have.
People are scared of all this stuff. And I'm like, you know how you not get scared of this? Don't commit crime, folks. Don't break the law. You'll be okay. And those that do break the law should be scared of the technology. You should be scared of it. You should be darn scared of it. But if you're not committing crime, there's nothing to be scared of. Don't worry about it. I don't worry when I walk into Walmart or the Acme that has facial recognition because I've never stolen from those two stores.
True.
Therefore, I don't care what kind of facial recognition they have. Have the most billion-dollar facial recognition system, Acme. Bring it on. Who cares? Because I've never shoplifted from Acme. So
You've never shoplifted
I've
anywhere.
never. Yeah, let me phrase that. I've
Make
never
that a
shoplifted.
good point. Right?
I've never shoplifted anywhere. Although I could tell you a funny story about when I walked out of a store with groceries without paying.
Well, that happens.
That's a
someday.
story
Just
for
not
another
thinking.
day.
By the way, here's your wallet. For you.
And they came running out. The police chief just stole.
Right.
It's a long story.
Oh,
But
yeah, I can imagine.
I didn't steal it. I
No.
walked back in.
Well,
But
sure.
anyway.
You're being honest. I mean, you know, sharing these experiences.
It's funny, that story.
Of
But
course.
you can hard secure buildings with security, law enforcement. I shouldn't say security. With law enforcement, with technology that's out there, with locking doors down, and keeping them fire safe. So holding people accountable for propping doors, putting cameras on doors, putting alarms on doors. These are all things. But when you put an alarm on the door, somebody has to be able to respond when the alarm goes off. You can't just put an alarm on the door and it has a flash in the secretary's office and no one moves because she or he is stuck covering that front of the building. So this costs money.
Yes.
So it costs money. So, yes, securing and keeping our kids safe is not going to come free, folks. It's going to put a price to it. Coming off the schools for a few minutes, the other thing we have to do is we don't do enough for mental health in this country.
Oh, my goodness. I'm glad you're covering that.
We do not do enough. I do a presentation. I'm horrible at remembering dates, and I don't have anything. I don't have it in front of me. I don't have no paperwork in front of me, any paperwork. But Ben Salem started the first co-responder program. We talked about it on the show.
Yes, we did.
And when I do presentations on the co-responder, I found a very interesting quote by Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin, that's right, one of our
leaders.
One of our leaders, one of our
founders.
One of our, original.
Yeah.
One of our founders. And Benjamin Franklin identified in the 1700s, he identified the fact in Pennsylvania, he talks about Pennsylvania, that the dealing with the mentally ill, he calls it, they use different, like, Shakespeare-type verbiage, the way they talked back then. Ben Franklin would probably have a coronary if he saw people typing on Facebook and Instagram and everything else. That's not the kind of words they use. But Benjamin Franklin identified that the mentally ill, we will be dealing with those individuals, and we have to, the land needs to deal with people that are suffering from mental illness. And he used other verbiage, but I don't have the exact quote. And that was back in the 1700s. And now in 2022, we're still dealing with the same problem that Benjamin Franklin was dealing with, folks. We're still dealing with that program because we don't do enough in this country for the mentally ill. We don't do enough for people that are suffering from different problems, whether it be drug addiction, whether it be alcohol addiction. And I don't want to sidetrack. We're staying on school violence. I'm coming right back to it, folks.
Of course.
But you kill 19 kids, there's something wrong with you.
Oh my God, that's
I
horrible.
I don't have to have 20 PhDs to make that diagnosis. No offense, docs,
Yeah.
but I don't need to be a world-famous psychologist or psychiatrist or whatever, neuroscientist. You kill 20 kids, 19 kids,
Jesus.
there's a problem with you. And, shoots his grandmother first, and look at the signs we saw with Harrison Klebold in 1999, and we haven't done anything about it.
No, nothing at all.
I'm going to talk about a story here in Bucks County, and I'm not going to mention names. I don't know if I can or can't, but I'm not going to mention names, but everybody's going to know what I'm talking about. Back in the summer of 2017,
Okay.
when 4 people were killed in this county. Well, let's just say I have been advocating for police having information in their computers. We can run your driver's license, we can run your name, see all kinds of information on you. What we can't see is if you've ever been mentally committed to an institution. So in Pennsylvania, if you've been what we call 302'd, you cannot possess a firearm. And lucky thing in the sheriff's office, that comes through my office now, gun permits and stuff like that. But you can't possess a firearm if you've been 302'd or you've been committed mentally. And but the police have no idea. It does not come up anywhere on a screen. Now, I don't believe through HIPAA, I agree, I shouldn't know if an individual's bipolar, manic depressive, A, B, or C, whatever they're diagnosed, none of my business. I don't even care what medication they're on. None of our business.
Sure.
We don't want to know that. Believe me, the cops they don't want all this information on you.
They have enough.
Got enough crap to.
responsibilities.
Ooh, can I say crap? I
No.
said it.
Oh, okay.
I can't say. I said it twice.
That might be in the dictionary. I have to look that one up. That's all right.
We can't enough stuff. We can't say enough
Right.
stuff.
Right.
No
Well,
7-second delay on this show.
No, that's a
Um,
plethora of all kinds of things out there.
plethora. I love
Yes,
it.
All right.
I'm gonna have to use any more fancy words. I'm gonna have to bring a dictionary out. A plethora of information.
There
That
we
means
go.
a lot.
That's
if you
a
don't
lot.
know.
Yeah. An abundance.
Abundance. Thank you.
Yes. All the synonyms are coming out now.
So the cops don't want any more information on you. And all I wanted is that an officer knew if an individual was 302'd or had a involuntary, meaning against your will, commitment by the government, and that would notify the officer that you're not allowed to possess a firearm. Now we have to rely on your honesty.
Jeez. And that's not going to work?
It's not,
Obviously.
it's not that.
It's
Doesn't work that
definitely
way.
not going to work.
So the point of the story is this has been since 2017. I've been advocating for this, and 5 years later, we're nowhere. I will tell you that locally, like people like Tommy Tomlinson and Gene DiGirolamo and Casey Tomlinson and Frank Ferry, and I mention these names because these are the 4 I deal with regularly, because I'm come from Ben Salem.
Absolutely.
So these are the 4 I deal with, and they've been working as hard as they can to do stuff. But we're a big commonwealth,
Yes, we are.
and people in the western part of the state don't have the same issues as the 5 counties down here.
Not as concerned.
Not as concerned, and there's a million other stories of things that died on the vine because they're just not as concerned. They have votes, and that's a problem. So we have major issues in these 5 counties, the four surround Philadelphia and Philadelphia. And then you could probably go up to Lehigh and Northampton and a couple other counties you could throw in there. But us 5, Bucks, Montgomery, Chester, Delaware County, the ones that surround Philadelphia, we have issues. And we don't have the votes to fix a lot of these issues. So that's a problem, the way we're set up. It's a system we got, so the system we'll work with.
Right.
But people don't understand the problem. And we have to let law enforcement know, give them more access to certain things. We have to provide good mental health care, and there is good mental health care, but not nearly enough. Not nearly enough. There's less than 1,000 government mental health beds now in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
That's
Years
sad.
ago, there were over 40,000.
Jeez.
And you're telling me that we have 39,000 less people with issues? No, I don't think so.
No, if anything, it could be
We
worse.
got more.
It's more of an epidemic.
It's more of an epidemic.
Fred, 350,000 people are suffering with mental illness and have been released. So they're on the streets and they're destitute.
Well, listen, you have things going on in Philadelphia. These poor cops, I know so many. You were one.
Yes.
These poor guys and gals are dying to do the job,
Yep.
and they're being, for lack of a better phrase, handcuffed. And hard times call for hard measures. And these shootings in Philadelphia, preventable.
Oh, yeah, they're preventable as well.
And you got a lot of smart command staff in the city of Philadelphia.
Absolutely, we do.
But I think there's not too many people that would disagree with me that they're being handcuffed by
Oh my goodness.
upper
Yes.
elected officials, if you will.
No question about it.
So it is what it is. Here in Bucks County, we got great guys like
Yes,
Matt
we do,
Weintraub.
Matty boy.
We got a good bench. We've got
Yes.
some great judges. I know, like the DJs, and that you commit crime in Ben Salem, you get caught, which you're going to get caught. It's not going to end well for you.
No.
But that message has to be sent. But as far as school shootings, messages have to be sent too. You're going to be held accountable, and also we have to get people mental health. We have to identify people. We have to. The social media is the new New York Times, Washington Post.
Yeah.
Whether you like Facebook, Facebook, I'm probably going to be put in Facebook jail now.
I like that.
Whether you like Facebook or you like Instagram or Snap and all this other garbage that's out there, this is not, folks. I wasn't there in 1776. I wasn't there. Were you there?
I knew you were going to ask me that question.
You may have been there. I don't know.
I might have been. Yeah, just right at the very beginning. I was only a little.
You were only a little kid.
Right.
Our framers, when they wrote the First Amendment, this is not what they had in mind.
No,
this is not what they had in mind. Read your history books. History teachers, go over it.
Yes.
Do that. Go over it. But Facebook, cooperation, law enforcement from them, Snap, Instagram, all those companies, they don't cooperate with law enforcement. You know who cooperate with law enforcement? Now I'm going to show my age. MySpace.
Oh, yeah.
They're gone.
That's it. They're gone.
Do you know MySpace?
Yeah. We're going to allow our sponsors to say a few more words, but keep that thought so that we can cover a little bit more about that. And there is an alliance with mental health and with guns and everything. There's absolutely an alliance.
And the First Amendment. The First Amendment, the Second Amendment,
Yes.
Fourth Amendment, they're all connected.
They're all connected.
We didn't have indoor plumbing when the Fourth Amendment was written.
No, we didn't.
Anyway, let's take a break.
Yes, we're going to take a fast break. And
I'm doing your job. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. You're doing it very eloquently. Yeah, no question about it, Freddie. We'll be right back after a few words from our sponsors.
We have something for everyone at Team Toyota. With used cars starting under $6,000, over 80 Toyota certified used vehicles, pre-owned trucks, vans, SUVs, hybrids, and more. And they all come with 1 year of complimentary maintenance and roadside assistance. Plus, you can shop completely online or in our safe and spacious showrooms for a comfortable and fast process that puts you in control. Visit teamtoyota.net and be safe, be strong, and be a team.
WBCB is now on your FM dial at 107.3. Serving Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer counties since 1958, you can now listen to all of your BCB favorites crystal clear on 107.3 FM. A new age for WBCB on a new frequency, 107.3.
Opinions matter, and so does yours. Hi, I'm Joe Fabrizi, inviting you to join us every Monday at 1 p.m. for Opinions Matter, right here on 1490 AM WBCB. Opinions Matter is now live streamed at WBCB1490.com. We want to hear from you because your opinion does matter.
Are you curious what old antiques, collectibles, or household contents are worth? Listen Friday mornings for What's It Worth with Mike the Appraiser, right here on 1490 WBCB.
So I was just talking to Fred. Actually, Fred had mentioned to me, he said, after a couple cups of coffee, boy, we're going to get you 3 cups of coffee. As I said, we'll get the energy really rolling with you, buddy. But it's all of this that's up top in your head.
I don't know about
the
that.
experience that you have and the emotions and the character that you provide. And you build that with your team up there in Doylestown. We talked about the alliance. I call it an alliance, with mental health. There's similarities there, and they coincide with one another with these problems because there's a lot of mental health issues out there that need to be addressed. And that's another one, prevention. How do you prevent things like this? It's tough. It's difficult. But how do you move forward? That's another thing. But with prevention, you had addressed it effectively. We need, as a unit, not divisively on both party lines, we need to come together and realize that whatever the cost is, I speak to a lot of people, Fred, as you know, across the county and in Philadelphia. I'm at meetings with police and firemen and with neighbors, and not one person objected. Now, in fact, everyone was a proponent of let's spend money and put it where it needs to be with prevention, and let's begin with our schools. because it's so important. So forget the party lines. You're absolutely right. You know, the R's, the D's, the independents. We're all Americans, and we all have children, and we want the children to be protected. How are these kids going to go to school now? I have grandchildren, and you know, when they see this on television, see these events on television, how are they going to feel? What is their mental capacity like, and what is their attentiveness going to be like in schools if they don't have that comfort of security, Fred?
You have to be secure, and you have to feel secure. You know, I always preached in Bensalem. You know, our stats were always good. I live by stats. You know, that's what drives us. That's how you get funding, based on stats. The government uses stats. Everybody uses stats, but and that's never going to go away. But it's also people's perception of fear is just as bad. So if my stats show that you have no burglaries in your neighborhood, but you still feel not safe, then that's something we have to do. That's part of our job. You know, we have to make sure that you feel safe too. How much resources can we dedicate to an area that really has no crime? It's a tough decision, but we move the widgets around, and we move money, and we move resources, and we move things to make sure that people feel safe, because feeling safe is just as important as being safe. Because if you're in your house shivering because you're afraid somebody's going to break in and there's no chance of anybody breaking in, you'll be safe after the year, but you've been upstairs shivering for 365 days. So it's a lose-lose. So we have to change that mindset. We have to make sure people feel safe. And it's the same in school. Not only do we have to make sure you feel safe, but you have to be safe. And you know what? That comes at a cost. And you know, you don't put the jacuzzi in when the water main is leaking. It's that simple.
Good point.
You know, and we got a leaking water main, folks. You got leaky pipes now, and that's the safety aspect. So we're gonna have to give up, and we're gonna have to forego on some of the fancy things or some of the things that are nice. You know, that we sometimes spend money on.
Let's call it a mandatory investment.
Sounds good to me.
It's mandatory that we all step up and we have to contribute to something that's very important and near and dear to all of us.
Yeah, and you know, and I'm not sure where the country's going. I mean, we're certainly not putting money into that sort of stuff. We're just not putting money into the right spots.
We're not, and you know, I know when I watch that hesitation. That I don't like to see in your profile, it's only because it's frustrating to you.
Well,
you don't have the ability to push that button and make everyone see the light.
Maybe one day I will.
I hope so.
Maybe one day I will.
Yeah, move up that ladder, Fred. You
know. But it can be done, and that's what, you know, we just have to. And you do have people that see the big picture, but they're only one vote. They're only one voice out of many, and not everybody sees the same way. But locally, your local elected officials, your local town government, your local school boards, they've got a lot of power. They have probably a lot more power than sometimes the President of the United States for us locally, but they do. For us locally and how we live every day, they're the ones that decide how the money gets spent in the school district. And you know, new gymnasium floors are beautiful and they're great, but when you can't secure your school doors, forget about the gymnasium floor that year. You know, I said jacuzzi and water main. You know,
that's a good point.
You don't put a new rug in when your roof is leaking. You know what I mean? When your roof is leaking, you don't put a new, you know, expensive hardwood or marble floor imported from Italy or wherever you're going to get it from Spain or wherever. You know, you got to fix the roof first, folks. Maybe I use that acronym, maybe analogy better than, you know, the jacuzzi and the water main. Maybe people don't understand that, but I think the roof and leak and an expensive rug people get, because the rug's going to get wet and you're going to be replacing it. And that's where we are now. So let's secure our roofs. Let's secure our buildings. Let's do it at any and all costs, pretty much. And we don't need to hire 100 million consultants. Stop spending $100,000 on a consultant. Your local police chief knows what to do, and they're already paid. You do not need to go spend $100,000 on consultants, because you're going to have all kinds of people come out of the woodwork to make a lot of money and nothing will get done. I'll do it for nothing, folks. Any school district, any building that wants, the Bucks County Sheriff's Office will do it for nothing. Or we'll get the police chiefs to do it. The Bucks County police chiefs, they're uniformed, they're united rather, and they'll work together, and we'll get it done for you if you're willing to do it. You know, and I guess I can say that because I'm still on the board.
Yes.
I was past president
Thank
and
goodness
past
for that.
board president, so I know Mike Cummings and is our current president, and Ron McPherson's our current board president. I know they'll do it because the guys and gals here in Bucks, want to do the right thing. But stop nickel and diming us to death. Let's do it, and let's secure our schools. Let's do the right thing before we put a new gymnasium floor on next year. Before you start building, gymnasium floors and other stuff next year, and pools and volleyball netting or whatever it is, and that stuff's all important. Yes, it is, but it's not as important as a solid roof. And right now we've got a leaking roof. And you know what? I'm without going into specifics. I'm going through a couple issues now, and up county, and it's everything is always okay until it's not. I used to do a presentation called "We're a Minute from Being on CNN." And or maybe I should say Facebook now, not CNN, but everything's okay till the day it's not. And then everybody questions, well, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Well, I couldn't get money for this. I couldn't get money for that. No one wants to hear that when the elected officials are going to 19 funerals in Texas.
Good point.
And they're all stopping, and the President of the United States Joe, don't go to Texas. Let's get some money out to these schools.
Amen.
But they must work with their local law enforcement, not on their own, Joe. And Joe, I'm talking to Joe Biden now. Joe Biden, let's get this done. Let's do it right, and let's get moving. These schools, I'll come down. I love going to D.C. I'll come down and talk to you for a couple of days, and we'll get this done. I guarantee you, free of charge, Joe. I'll do it for you.
That's a great offer.
You think Joe's listening?
No.
All right.
Unfortunately,
All right.
I think he's in the basement. Basement Joe. I hate to say that.
I didn't want to go
for
there.
me, but yeah.
But all kidding aside, listen. I didn't vote for Joe Biden, but he's my president, and I want him to succeed.
Right.
I want him to be the best president of the United States. I want Joe Biden to be the best president of the United States.
That only helps us.
I wanted Donald Trump to be the best president. I wanted
Right.
Barack Obama to be the best president of the United States. I wanted them all to be the best. I wanted Carter to be the best president of the United States.
Exactly.
Because they're my leader. They fail, we fail, folks. So you got to get through all this nonsense. Stop crying over who won or who didn't win. I'm talking about both sides, Trumpers and Biden people.
No question about it.
Stop crying over it. Let's move on. We want who's ever in the office for 4 years to be the best ever. I want to go down and say Joe Biden was the best president of the United States we ever had.
Yeah,
I'd be proud to say it. I'll fly a flag that says that if he does it.
Right.
Or Trump, or Biden, or Barack, or who the next guy or gal,
Yes.
Hillary, whoever it might be. I don't care who it is. Be the best and make us proud and do the job. And if you don't like him, then you vote him out in 4 years. That's what this country's all about. But be the best.
How do we look in the eyes of all the neighbors and the countries out there that some of them are suspect to being very demonic, as you know? China's out there, North Korea's out there. There's Russia, all of them. How do we look if we don't have the right leadership? And that's what concerns me too.
Right.
And that's another whole barrage of conversations that we could get into. But you're right. We want every president to be the best so that we're getting the proper representation. And we need him to have his ears open to these senseless degrees of malignment and children being lost because of what's going on with the lack of security in our schools. It's terrible. It's terrible. Well, I think we covered a lot about this, and I hope that a lot of people understand how important it is. Prevention. That's where it needs to begin, and in a sensible investment.
And treatment for mental health,
Yes.
money for mental health, not just for securing the doors. It's got to be a whole. It's got to be a whole package deal. Securing our doors and securing our buildings, we can do that, but you're not gonna be able to do that forever.
Yes.
So we've got to work with the mentally ill. We've got to work with. We started before the break. We were talking about things like Facebook and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For us to get information from them, and it's very, very difficult. And people are posting this sort of stuff. There should be automatic alerts and things like that. I sent something to Facebook years and years and years and years ago. I thought I had this idea that for missing children, and most of the missing kids we get in Bucks County, they're just kids that don't come home that day and they wind up. That wouldn't it be nice if we could alert Facebook, because this is when Facebook was popular with the kids.
Sure.
Now it's how to be Instagram. because Facebook's, as the kids say, it's for our generation now.
Yes.
The kids don't use Facebook anymore. But Instagram or Snap, where they can put out the first snap you would see, Snapchat would be the missing person I can hit all of Bucks County at 19020, 19007, 19057. If this kid, and then the kids wake up in the morning like, Fred, your parents are looking for you. Didn't you not tell them you were here? And you know how much police time that would save? I mean, I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I'm not the smartest guy in the room.
Right.
This is easy stuff. You know what Facebook said to me? They had no interest in it.
None
It
whatsoever.
wasn't because they didn't want the police, sending messages through their whatever. I'm like, not the police. It's about missing children, dopes.
Yes.
You
No
know,
question about it.
It's about missing children. It's not about. It's TikTok. Look what this the nonsense that we're doing on TikTok, and the inappropriate stuff that's out there, and Snap, and
Yeah.
and Instagram and all that. Let's put some of this stuff to good
Effectiveness.
use, to effectiveness.
Yes, no question about
It could be done. Oh, I'm getting aggravated.
Yeah, it is aggravating. We're going to take a final break to listen to our sponsors once again, and then we'll sum everything up. I want Joe, and I think the listenership, they want to hear and understand and appreciate all the improvement steps that you implemented from your first day as sheriff to the present, and some of the goals ahead for our sheriff's department in Bucks County. We'll cover a lot of that with Fred before we sign off. This hour goes by too quick. Too quick, Fred. We'll return after a few words, and don't go anywhere.
We have something for everyone at Team Toyota. With used cars starting under $6,000, over 80 Toyota certified used vehicles, pre-owned trucks, vans, SUVs, hybrids, and more. And they all come with 1 year of complimentary maintenance and roadside assistance. Plus, you can shop completely online or in our safe and spacious showrooms for a comfortable and fast process that puts you in control. Visit teamtoyota.net and be safe, be strong, and be a team.
WBCB is now on your FM dial at 107.3. Serving Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer counties since 1958, you can now listen to all of your BCB favorites crystal clear on 107.3 FM. A new age for WBCB on a new frequency, 107.3.
For more than 125 years, the Philadelphia Protestant Home has been family to seniors living independently or in personal care and skilled nursing. PPH is a premier community for affordable, quality care and vibrant living. Through its Benevolent Care Fund, PPH also provides peace of mind, security to eligible residents who no longer can afford their living expenses. PPH offers spacious studio 1 and 2 bedroom apartments with balcony, patio, and garden view options. Call now to schedule a tour, 215-697-8000, or visit us on the web at pphfamily.org. At PPH, we're family.
Hey, this is Jonesy. Kick off your Thursday and Friday evenings in style. Join me for an eclectic freeform mix of the hits and beyond. It's a happening, a musical journey. It's the Glenn Jones radio experience right here on 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM. Thursday and Friday, 5 to 6 p.m., directly following the legendary Jerry Blavitt. Radio, the way it ought to be.
Hey, we're back here with listening with our Sheriff, Fred Harran, Behind the Badge, a show that we're very, very proud of to bring to you each and every time when Fred shows up every other month. You go back and forth with our buddy Matt Weintraub, and it's just a fantastic show. It's here to help you understand all the merits that are provided to keep this a safe county. I want to briefly mention this event that's coming up this Saturday, the 3rd annual Ryan Reed Memorial. Ryan Reed Memorial, beloved teacher who passed away, and his parents are just fantastic. Gail Reed, Heather Reed O'Mara. They put this together. It's at one of the greatest golf courses in the world.
Yes, it is.
In the world.
In the world.
Yes. The Ben Salem Country Club. That's going to be this Saturday. If you need further information, if you want to get involved and help with education, 2 yearly scholarships for graduating seniors at the Mast Charter Schools, Archbishop Ryan High School, and the Maternity PVM Grade School. Good efforts being made here and raising money on behalf of Ryan Reed. 215-969-6083. That's 215-969-6083. 6083. It's not too late. The Ryan Reed Memorial. It's going to be a great day. Great weather, too. And Paul Muller is sponsoring a hole-in-one there for someone who may get lucky, and Paul will be more than happy to give away a 2-year lease on a brand new, beautiful Toyota. Even though there's not many of them out there, we'll order it for them. That's for sure. But let's get back to you, Fred, as we have about maybe 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's cover the future, and let's cover a lot of the improvement steps that you've made and implemented from your first day in office to the present and the future.
So, some of the things that, it's a slow pace at the county, but, I will say that the commissioners have been very good to me and very good with me.
Smart commissioners.
Well, they're a good team up there. I can't complain. It's a good team, like Team Toyota.
There you go. Great. Nice plug.
Team County.
Did you like that, Paul?
But, one of the things that's in the process right now, we're changing the front of the entrance coming into the building. I noticed right away the security design was problematic. So that's been approved, and there's some changes going in to that. What we're doing in the sheriff's office is we've extended for people that want carrying permits legally. They're entitled to it by law. I don't make the law. I just work with the law that's there. Gun permits, we've extended hours. We've taken it. We've opened up our Quakertown office. We're going to be taking it out on the road, so that going into different areas that for folks. We're also expanding. We're working with our Pathfinder initiative. So it's our CIT, Crisis Intervention Pathfinders. These are deputies that are super trained in mental health. We were just talking about mental health. Dealing with mental health issues in the courthouse, with people, because people come in, at their worst times. They're losing their children. They're losing a lot of their pay. They're losing their house. They're losing their freedom.
A lot of emotions.
A lot of emotions flying, and you're getting people at their most vulnerable times. And so we're really expanding and enhancing that program. We also, we've been working with the district attorney's offices, and I found this crazy. So if you apply for a gun permit and you lie, we just talked about mental health, right? And you lie, you say you've never been arrested, or you've never been arrested for a felony, or convicted of a felony. And I was actually signing one of the documents. I'm like, wait a minute, I locked this guy up in Ben Salem for felony.
Geez.
He's saying he never been arrested for a felony. So his permitting was denied. I said, he should be locked up. It says on the bottom of the form, perjury, lying on this form. So now we're working with district attorney's office to look at all these cases, and people are going to start getting arrested if you lie to the sheriff's office about your status, and we can catch you, because we're going to catch you.
Sure you will. Right.
You're going to get locked up. So stop lying to us, because you're going to get another charge on you.
In this county.
In this county, anyway. I can only talk about this county. And the other issue is, I find, so after permits are denied, I have to sign. I've never signed so many checks in my life, and so people, the $15 fee that you get, I got to write them a check back.
Why?
That's an excellent question. So I said, why? And I said, forget it. Stop writing people checks back. I'm not giving people their money back that blatantly lie to us. And now it cost me more than $15 to process it probably cost me $22 to process a $15 check.
Yes.
I said, stop. We're not giving money back. And I stopped that, and then someone said, you can't do that, Sheriff. It's in the law. So I went to Casey Tomlinson, and she's looking into changing that. She thought it was crazy, too. She's friggin' dynamite. Can I say friggin'?
I said so. I don't think there's
I said it
anything wrong
twice.
with that. No,
I
it's
won't
not
say it
that
again.
bad. No, I don't think that's
She's an
soft.
amazing state representative. How's that?
Yes.
Okay. She's also friggin' awesome. So she's she's looking to change the law, and she thought it was stupid, too.
Yes.
So I'm like, why am I returning money for people? So we're working on that. We're working on, we have so many warrants in this county. We're working with the district attorney's office, adult probation and parole, domestic relations. Last week we kept it low key. We did a sweep. We're doing them by zip codes on people that have not been paying their child support.
Okay.
And there's about 100, don't quote me on the number, somewhere between 140 and 160 in the county that have not. And we're not talking about like $3 payments. We're talking about some people owe like $40,000, $50,000 in child support. And, that's not fair. That's not right. So last week we locked up, I think, 7 on a sweep in the early morning, and then we're doing some other things. So we're working with a lot of the other agencies in the county, because we're just a we're just the sheriff's office is just a tool for everybody to use. We work with almost every department in the courthouse, and I find it very interesting. And I'm there every day, pretty much, to help out. The other day, we were short sheriffs, and the courthouse was really busy. I was moving prisoners, and it was kind of cool because that's something I moved prisoners before, locking people up, but not the way they do it in the courthouse. And
Sure.
these men and women, the Bucks County sheriffs, the deputies, I'll tell you what, they are, sorry, Ben Salem, but they are an amazing group of law enforcement officers. I mean, what they do and the tact that they use and the way they talk to people, and they're getting people at their worst. I used to think that when a cop walked up to your door, there was never good news. Something happened to a loved one,
Sure.
a car was stolen, blah, blah, blah. Very rarely do we say, we found your car, we found your grandfather's, watch, we're returning it to you. There was very little good news. Once in a while there was. But when a sheriff walks up to your door, it's always bad news.
Oh, yeah.
So one of the sheriffs, I guess I'm a half-empty guy. He was a half-full guy. He says, "That's not true, Sheriff." He goes, "Sometimes we deliver good news." So some of the other bad news is, they're taking, I'm going to tell you what it is in a minute. We're taking your house, we're taking your property, we're taking you, we're taking your children, we're taking your guns. So it's always something negative.
Something negative.
So this one sheriff, this deputy says to me, "That's not true, boss." He says, "We do deliver good news." I said, "We do?" He said, "Yeah. Sometimes we walk up to a house and we say, 'We're taking your neighbor.'" I said, "Damn, you are a half." I say, "Damn." I sorry, said it twice again.
That's all right.
I guess you are a half full glass guy. So I said, "I never looked at it like that." He said, "We're taking your neighbor."
Yeah. Have you seen him lately? Oh my God, that's crazy.
So listen, there's always a little light at the end of the
you have
tunnel,
to.
I guess.
Yeah,
and
it's not a locomotive all the time.
It's not a look. I like that. It's not a locomotive all the time.
Right.
And we're going to be doing some new stuff up there. We're trying to get some more personnel. We're going through accreditation right now. We started that process to become state and nationally accredited. I think I've said it on this show. I've said it places. Ben Salem is the only law enforcement agency in Bucks County that has national accreditation. Watch out, Ben Salem. Bucks County Sheriff's Office is on your heels. So we're going to get national credit. That's a goal of mine. I'd like to get it within a couple of years. We're going to get state accredited within a year. We're approving all our policies and procedures. The commissioners, thank you, all three commissioners. Fantastic. We're getting new tasers. So one of the things I looked at, some of the sheriffs didn't have tasers, and they had the ones that had
Did
tasers.
a great job with
they had
that.
the oldest ones.
Yes.
So now we have the newest. We're getting the newest tasers, and everybody's going to be equipped. And it's another thing. It's okay until it's not okay. Like, well, why did you have to use deadly force on someone? How come you didn't have a taser and the other sheriff did? Well, we didn't have enough money for it.
Right.
Well,
if I may, I'll mention John Barron. John, who's one of your sheriffs and
fantastic.
the chief down here in
Yeah.
Unionville.
Very good.
Yeah, he's just excited about doing all the training and
Yep.
How you were able to get that all enacted.
So we're looking to do that. We're looking to expand the county DNA program. I'm not going to say much more. I'm waiting for some things to come into place.
That's why we have other shows ahead.
Well, we got plenty to talk about, Tommy. We got plenty to talk about. And I'd like to hear more about your days with Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah, well, you know what? One of these days, when we have time, fortunately, Bree saves me, and we only have about 30 seconds left.
So when you and Ben called each other, did you have the ear thing?
Yes, it was horse and buggy, on the old trails.
Cool.
It was a lot of fun.
I bet.
Yeah. Thanks, Fred. But at any rate, love this guy. Great show again, once again. It was, I think, very intuitive for a lot of and for a lot of good reasons for our listenership to understand what's going on. And as we only have about 30 seconds left, we want to thank you for listening in. Our next show with Fred, we're going to have a lot more important things to cover with you. As I say at the end of every show, and most importantly, and I know Fred shares this with me, our hearts are in prayer for all the children who have been lost with these schools that are out there. And please listen, prevention. That's what we want to try and reach out, speak to your legislators. As Fred mentioned, it's important for us to put things in perspective and in place at our schools. More security, mechanical devices, and, as Fred said, accountability. Be safe. Stay well. Jerry, I'm coming home to walk the dog with you, as long as it's not raining outside. I always tell her that at the end of all my shows. And most importantly, God bless America.